Okay, everyone, I'm going to do this quick, short lecture just to talk about the return of Trump and its implications for international law and organizations. What is going to happen? And I first want your opinion. I'm going to lay out just some key points here, and then we'll move on with our lives. What's going to happen the next 4 years? That's what I want to read from you. But first, don't forget, Trump's version of America's First is one to get rid of the WHO or remove the United States from the WHO. He tried to do it during the pandemic. I think he's going to try it again. This is a huge hurdle. Remember, even though the Republicans will have the House and the Senate, it doesn't guarantee he's going to get everything because some of those Republicans are from Democratic states. And to be honest with you, the Democrats didn't do as badly in that election as people say. They actually flipped and held on to a lot of seats. So I think it was more of a rejection of the Biden Kamala economy more than anything else. Two, we're going to have new elections soon, right? In a few years. And usually what happens is, people say, oh, this is a huge red tide, which it was. I mean, Trump did well in this election, but the Democrats will always come back, just like it always happens with the Republicans or Democrats taking office. Clinton won the election, two of them, but he had to deal with Newt Gingrich and other people, basically Republicans in the House and the Senate. So it's not a clear, like, okay, Trump is going to get everything, but he does have power. So how does this lay out 4 years at least of power in international organizations? Remember, he wanted to get rid of the WHO or get out of the WHO. And he also wanted to defund certain organizations in the United Nations. One big thing that he will be able to do is to defund organizations that support abortion or any kind of reproductive rights and things like that internationally. So George Bush did this as well, the second George Bush, because his compassionate conservatism was still very anti-abortion. So he does have those powers. And he has other powers in health. Remember, RFK is going to play a big role in health, and he's very incredulous about vaccines. So, what does this mean, not just domestically, but internationally? And then he just picked his new UN ambassador from New York, and she's going to be the UN ambassador. Probably she's going to make it through the process. So, what does that mean for international relations, international organizations, etc.? She was one of the ones who was attacking the university professors for being quote unquote anti-Semitic. What does this mean for the Israeli in Gaza? Moreover, does this mean internationally, which is very, very important for international law, will he do a deal with Putin? And does that mean Trump is actually going to say to Zelensky, hey, you have to give up this land, and this is the only way? And is that good or bad? And that's what I want to hear from you, because remember, in international organizations and law, Putin, they want to try as a war criminal. That's off the table. Even now, I believe that even if they were able to do it, right? And then he doesn't obviously get taken to the ACC or whatever, because that's more for developing countries. Unfortunately, the powerful countries don't go. But this is going to be completely removed off the table, in my opinion. In fact, in international law, I think one of the considerations will be that the Ukraine, with the land that it's left, will not repeat, will not be able to make any movements towards taking Russia to the either ICJ or to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, which we're not even a part of anyways, the United States. So you have to start thinking what will happen. Moreover, what will happen to all those initiatives out there? You could talk about the United Nations, you could talk about the WHO, you could talk about the World Trade Organization. Also, I think is going to take a hit with Trump, who's very incredulous about trade, NAFTA, CAFTA, all these trade deals, right, for the good and the bad. But what about these, ad hoc arguments with the environment? What will happen with climate change? What will happen? Will he remove certain barriers to massive fossil fuel development? Now, is that bad or good? See, I'm not giving my opinion, because a lot of people say, oh, wait, that's good because prices have been so high. What will it mean for the environment? Behind me is a Red Lobster I ate it. I cooked it live. It was good. But what will that mean to like sea creatures and everything else? But I think most importantly, the whole immigration thing. What will happen with immigration? Remember, there are certain legal rights for immigrants. My hunch is his deportation, which does affect international law and organizations, of people coming here. It's going to be just like Joe Arpaio, where you begin some deportations, but then you get caught up. Don't forget, we have all these lower courts, and it becomes even more costly. These are just some things I think is going to happen. I'm not giving my political opinion, but I think it's going to be very difficult for him to get as much done as he thinks. But I will think he will get things done. Remember, let me end with this. He is, and his movement is very incredulous. Not everyone in the movement. I think most people voted for him just because the economy was bad. But we've gotten into really good debates in my in class where they talk about, well, was it because Harris was a woman of color and a woman? Was it because, the economy? Was it because she didn't have enough time to campaign? She was never vetted, etc. People come up with really good arguments, and that's what I'd like to hear from you. Just, why you think Trump won. And the students have really contributed significantly to the courses and my understanding of these elections and the implications for both domestic and international policies. And I'm sure you people will do the same. I think one of the things with immigration, which is international law and organizations oriented, because has an international twist, is that he is going to try to keep people in Mexico and other places. The Biden administration was on the path of doing this. The reason why I got a $50,000 grant from USAID was to help Nicaraguans from Nicaragua, obviously, in neighboring Costa Rica to resettle there. So the goal was to kind of create this research oriented rubric to help resettle Nicaraguans in Costa Rica. And in my opinion, it was kind of like keep them there. So I think this has been a movement for a while. What we're going to see is going to be very interesting with like the Family Unification Act that the Biden administration supported, among others. So we're going to have to see how this pans out for all these things. Now, I'll end here because as everyone who has ever taken me knows, I could say I'm going to do this for 2 minutes and it ends up being like 20 minutes. And do we even have the time to listen to me ramble? But it's very, very important. And I'm dying to hear your opinions. So good luck with everything. If you didn't vote for Trump, sorry. If you did, well, congratulations. I have to be nonpartisan 100%. But I want to thank everyone for coming out and listening to my lectures. Take care, everyone, and say goodbye to the lobster.